What is up, everybody? It is Jake back with the MF Film Room. Thank you for being here and happy Friday. If you want to be up to date on all things EA College Football, hit that red subscribe button right now. Do it. I'm telling you right now, anything that comes out and you releases here or there, we are going to have it. You might not hear it here first, but the best analysis, you will hear it right here in this spot. Hit the red subscribe button. Also hit the like button too, and follow me on Twitter/X. That fam is growing. If you like college football content, go follow me also on Master Football with Jake Posey. But again, right now we're getting to that EA College Football content. Let's go. All right, guys, so here we are continuing with our features review. We've done so many things. Transfer portal, NIL. We did offense on Monday, defense on Wednesday, and you know what it is today. Well, you should know what it is. A lot of people say, oh, offense, defense, that's everything about football. You forget about my boy, special teams. Special teams is the red-headed stepchild of Madden, NCAA, whatever it was back in the day. It just seemed like they literally never made any updates. They don't need a lot of things here. Again, what you want to do, though, there's several things that happen in college football, especially more often than pros, with, the discrepancy between the teams, punt returns for touchdowns, kick returns for touchdowns, there's blocked kicks, blocked punts, whatever it is, the swinging gate, rugby punts. There's so many different things that can be included in this game that haven't been in the past that they need to now. What I want to do is go through this content right here. We've got ourselves a video with 3 parts going over the history, the factors to consider, and then my recommendations for what EA College Football should do. Get in those comments. Let me know what you guys think. I also apologize. I'm having some issues with the sound here. But again, get in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions, what you want to see coming up. Again, next week's going to be really important. A couple unique ideas that I have. But again, without further ado, let's get into that content. So like I said, we're going over special teams. We're going to go over some of that history. We're going to go over some factors to consider. And then ultimately, my recommendations. Let's get into that real quick. So for the history, I only pulled NCAA 2014 and Madden 22 and Madden 22 in the last couple years of the next gen model. So for NCAA 2014, there's a couple of things you can do. You can block field goals and punts. You more run into the ball than you block the kick. You can return punts and kickoffs and field goals for touchdowns. The kickoffs, TDs only happen when it's sideline or a whip technique. Let's check out, first of all, that block, and then the whip technique and the sideline returns. So here we are with Rocket Catch, and he's going to go over some of this really quickly on how to actually block these punts. So check what he does. He basically you just run into the ball. I think he's actually got the actual thing here on his website, but when you play this, again, he just run into the ball. You see, you hit it with his forehead. All right, that's not that's not exactly what you do in real life, but he hit it with his forehead, and then actually this video is pretty cool because he's going to take it and then he's going to pitch it way back here. But either way, you basically just run into the ball. You don't actually have the block animation. I think Madden does a better job with that, but NCAA 2014 still did not have the animation down. And then here we are with Kullenberger, and Kullenberger has actually got a really, really good breakdown of this. He's going to actually show you here how to kind of do this. Again, the only way you really return them is on a sideline or with a whip technique to the sideline. You never really take it up the middle or close to the hashes. You're almost always running down the sideline here. But you see what he's going to do. He's going to take this ball back here. He's going to take it up here and then whip it outside. So he takes it up and then boom, whip. So that's his whip. He lets off, he says sprint, coast, sprint. So he sprints up, coasts, but he cuts so you can be faster with the cut. And then he's going to take it up this field. So again, he's not going to return it for a touchdown, but that's his technique, is that the way you gain yards is up the sideline. In terms of Madden 22, so you can block field goals and punts. However, it's only when it's scripted or with extra funny business. I'm actually going to go over that here in a second here. It's also extremely difficult to return kicks for touchdowns. Let's go over some of those blocks because they have some better animations around the blocks, but it's still not great in my opinion. So this is from Ty Mercy, and again, he's got a solid video here on how to actually do it. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to see how he actually has to come up the field. So the game is going to take this young, and he wants to come him up here, but you almost have to whip him back to take him more flat so he can block this. But basically, that's his route. So you watch here. This time, he's going to come up, and he has to correct that. You saw how he had to correct that to go across this field. Didn't get it there, but he basically said it works like 30% of the time. Continuing on, we're going to watch until this actually works for him because he gets it here pretty quickly. So he's going to come up the field. He has to correct him instantly and get him down the line. And then he's able to block. So you see how that actually looks like a legit block in the game. Again, you block that off the edge. He did a really good job with that. But then here's on the r/Madden Reddit. Field goal blocks are scripted and it's ridiculous. This is 6 years ago, again, from the updates. But basically it says, I agree. Yeah, this is... They made it smoother, but people are still complaining because it's unrealistic. So yeah, I should add that I'm talking about playing the CPU, not users. So they are completely scripted in my perspective. There are some things they could do to make it more realistic, understand how kicks are blocked. But again, I want to make sure I continue on from here before we go to the actual my recommendations for this. So factors to consider. There's a couple things here. Kickoff and punt returns for touchdowns are super common in college football. Remember, we're talking about EA college football. We want to make sure we set the precedent there. Let's check and see what those return numbers actually look like. So here we are on college football team returning stats 2021. We see the fact up here that for punt returns, Boise State, actually surprisingly, my boys, had 16 punt returns and they had 3 touchdowns. So remember, that doesn't count the fair catches because that's just a possession. But they every 16 times they return the punt, they have 3 touchdowns. So basically, every 5 times they have 1 touchdown. Every 5 punt return attempts, that's 1 touchdown. That's awesome. That's also way higher than what it is in the game. If I were to sort this over here by kickoffs, then it's going to change the way too. So they had 34 attempts. The South Florida Bulls had 34 attempts for 3 touchdowns. That means that they had every 11 attempts, they have a touchdown. So every 11 kickoff returns. So let's just say they give up, 4 touchdowns a game. That means that once every 3 games, they have a punt return for a touchdown, or excuse me, a kick return for a touchdown. That's much more realistic to what the game is actually going off of. Also with that, field goals and punts are blocked a lot as well. Field goals are blocked both off the edge and up the middle on lower kicks. I played Boise State Broncos, played the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and they kicked the ball up for the game-winning field goal. It was blocked because it was way too low. That happens plenty in college football because the field goal kickers' abilities are widely distributed. They're more widely distributed than in the NFL. Remember, there's only like 1 or 2 kickers every year that can actually make the NFL. That means there's a giant delta between the best kicker in college and the worst kicker in college versus the best kicker in the pros and the worst kicker in the pros. I also think, again, I'm going to harp on this, long snappers snap the ball over the head of the punter more often in college. That needs to be a thing, even if it's only every once in a while. I mean, even the worst teams in the country would have like 3 or 4. That needs to be something that happens. In addition, I think that special teams is the side of the ball. The big schools dominate most over the small schools. You got to remember here, with that, let's just say you've got a really, really deep team. That means that your starters are 90 overall and your backups are 80. Or if you're not as good of a team, your starters, let's say they're 85, but your backups are 70. That means that you have 80s versus 70s on one side of the ball only for a couple plays, but you should feel like that. And especially, I'm telling you, that's how those big schools dominate, is because they have a lot of high 3 and 4-star players on their special teams. That needs to be reflective in the games, and especially from big plays on special teams. So I've got a lot of recommendations here. So my first one is teams with good depth should dominate special teams. That's just the way college football works. That's the way any football works. If you're really deep, you should dominate special teams. That's just the way it is. There are different kick return and punt return blocking paths. So should be multiple you can pick from. Remember, let's just say, that there should be, you have a wave of 4, waves of 3, and these guys go after the ball. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. They should have you have the ability to choose from those. You also should have to read your blocks on returns and not have it feel so scripted. What I mean by scripted is like, listen, unless you get the ball to the sideline on NCAA 2014, you weren't going to return it for a touchdown. You should actually have some strategy in how you block and read your blocks up the field on kick returns and punt returns. I think the reason why they don't really concentrate on it is because they want to get the animations down for the majority of the game, which is offense and defense. But again, dude, it's one of those things where if you get it right once, you're good perpetually. You don't have to do anything amazing. You just got to make sure it feels like you have to feel like you have an impact on the game. You actually have to feel like you can get better or worse off of it. And also your abilities of your players should factor more in as well. And then, like I said, with that, you should have the ability to read your blocks. And then you should open the possibility of touchdowns up the middle, or at least within the hashes. And again, because that happens a lot. There's guys who cut up the middle. You don't have to just instantly get to the sideline and just run up. It doesn't have to be all J routes, okay? There's some people have to do some cuts here and there. Devin Hester was known notoriously for returning it up the middle. All right, for my recommendations part 2, you should be able to pick your kick, punt, return, coverage formation, the swinging gate. Whoever doesn't know the swinging gate, I'm going to show you right now. So this one here is what it's going to look like. You see the long snappers right here. This center is typically going to be over here, snaps the ball up, and this guy steps over, and they've got 3 offensive linemen here. This long snapper takes off. These guys all take off, and there's 3 offensive linemen here. The punter, he's got a nice little base. All he's got to do is kick behind them. That should be a formation in college football. And again, it's called shield, swinging gate, whatever, okay? Continuing on, there should be field goal kickers should be able to aim lower for longer distances, but be more at risk for blocks up the middle. You should be able to block kicks up the middle. And again, I'm telling you, that would be important. That happens all the time. I mean, and again, if your kicker's really, really bad and you aim low, not only will it not potentially even go that far, but you also might hit your offensive lineman in the back of the head. Remember, this is college. There's more mistakes. That happens all the time. And then with kick and punt power and accuracy need to be separated. So it needs to be kick punt, or kick power, kick accuracy, punt power, punt accuracy. Because some kickers are good at punter, some punters are good at kicker. It's not an easy transition. Possibly have a composure rating for all players. That would be paramount for kickers. I'm telling you that composure rating, because as a kicker, even if you can kick the ball really far, even if you are really, really accurate, remember Roberto Aguayo. He couldn't handle the NFL. He got the yips. It is what it is. It has to do with composure. And then lastly, here is my recommendations for long snappers. Long snappers should have more options. Long snapping ability should be related to awareness and blocking ability, plus have the speed factor in it somewhat. In real life, long snappers take off after they snap the ball in coverage for ball in college for coverage. And then a super aware center, he's got better blocking abilities. He might be accurate with his snaps, but he couldn't cover as well as a tight end. But an unaware tight end would be at greater risk for snaps over the head. So that's how I kind of think it should be there. It should be some kind of ability. Long snapping ability, I don't really know how that would apply. I suppose you could do that if you wanted to, but it'd be weird if you got 85 scholarships, this is pretty common here. Find a long snapper. Who cares? Put them on the team. It doesn't matter. But I think that long snapper should matter, because right now, long snapper does not matter at all. And again, I have here on the Operation Sports thing, it says, what ratings matter for a long snapper? And then this guy comes out here and says, it doesn't matter. No matter who you put in, the results will always be the same. Wow, talk about really caring about that side of the ball. All right, guys, what are your recommendations? Get in the comments right now. Let me know, what do you like from what I have? What do you don't? What do you think I forgot? What do you think I should include? Get in the comments right now. Let me know. Also, remember, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links in the description. Get after me on there, okay? All right, guys, that is it. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Do all that stuff. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys later. I am out.